All right, while you're standing, let's give him a big round of applause. Let's finish this off and land his plane. Tarran Deane.
Thanks, guys. So did you have a nice coffee break? Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that we had the chance to do some stretching, because right now you can just clench your core because we're getting back on the bike. You ready? Okay, so everyone's set. There's a fresh handout coming around now. Just put it aside, turn it face over for a moment. Okay, take a look at the screen. I think this is a really important element before we go on to your personal leadership plan. The speakers that you've heard thus far, and no doubt anyone that you'll hear over the next day, will also confirm that social media is not where we sell. But the beauty with LinkedIn is that other people will sell for you when you do a job well done. When you do a job well done, that's terrible grammar. When the work you do is great, people will tell your story, and that story will translate into dollars, leads and dollars. Here's a sample of how I use my LinkedIn recommendations. So can you just confirm for me, do you all have a LinkedIn profile now after Jeff's session this morning? So let's say 99%. Okay, your homework, as Jeff has already laid out, is to really populate your summary and your profile. The next thing I'd invite you to consider is who in your office, if you cast your mind to your desk, that place where you stash all those business cards that you get, who of those contacts is possibly already on LinkedIn? There is an app that I use called Card Munch that I use to take the photo of the business card, and it synchronises with LinkedIn. So I made a point, take photo of the business card, it sends out, just synchronises with LinkedIn and lets me know if Tom, Jane are actually on the network. If they are, I have the opportunity to synchronise those contacts and click an invitation.
What was the name again, please?
That's Card Munch. CARDMUNCH, Card Munch. Jeff mentioned the importance of ensuring that you put in a covering message with your LinkedIn invitations, and that's absolutely correct. The disclaimer I'd put on with that is if you are using an iPhone or an iPad device, sometimes you don't have the option to tailor a message. Sometimes it just comes up invite, or it comes up with accept or decline. So whatever you do, if you don't have the option to customise the outgoing invitation, do what you can when somebody accepts it. So if Marnie accepts my invitation that I send from the app, she clicks back accept. My next step is to go, hi Marnie, so grateful that you accepted my invitation given I didn't have the opportunity to include a message using my iPhone. Love putting a face to the name. Great to meet you at Stephen's event recently. Look forward to hearing your progress in the next few weeks. So you customise your response. So not every device lets you put in a covering message. So what's your action? You're going to download Card Munch. You're going to go through your previous business cards and you'll see who's on the network. Then you'll connect with them. If you can't tailor the message, the invitation, what are you going to do? Yep, tailor your response to their acceptance. Okay, that's good. Then what we do, again, this is sort of courting and dating. So we don't want to be a one-night stand. We don't want to come on too thick and strong straight up. But when you feel, if you've had a relationship with people for more than a couple of months and you have their business cards, then say, hi Marnie, thanks so much for accepting my invitation to LinkedIn. I know we've known each other or worked with each other for a few months now. Would you be open to giving me a recommendation on LinkedIn for my XYZ services? And I'd love to do the same for you. So be proactive. Remember what we wrote up here. Be proactive, take charge, and do what you can to develop your brand that way. Then as soon as a recommendation comes in, honour them by writing one back if you believe that the service they offered you was good quality. So I preface this with, don't feel you have to accept everybody's invitation if the values don't align. Don't feel, or I would caution you against asking someone for a recommendation if you're not prepared to offer them one back, because that means you're using them. So if you do receive recommendations back, here's my tip for leverage, leverage, leverage. I open my LinkedIn profile on my desktop and I take a screenshot of that recommendation. That then hits my desktop as a .png file, like an image. I rename it. So, for example, here, Zarina Robertson, photographer, recommendation for Tarran Deane, corporatecinderella.com.au. Call now 1300 556 553 to inquire of our executive coaching, speaking, consulting services. That's a file name. So that image is then SEO'd. So I can then drag that image into my testimonials tab on my WordPress website. Leverage, leverage, leverage. I can also use that saved file to drag it into my customer proposals that I'm sending out with quotes. If I'm applying for awards, and this is where I first used this model last year, that's a screenshot of an award page that I submitted and received a merit award for innovation in the Gold Coast Women in Business Awards. I used that, and that was creative. I stood out from my competition. So what can you do with your existing recommendations? If you have written testimonials already coming in or feedback forms, can you copy and paste that, email that to your friend, your colleague, and go, hey, I'm just getting you on LinkedIn. I loved what you wrote about us in July 2013. I've provided the text version here. Would you be open to lodging that as a recommendation in our LinkedIn profile or our company page? Love to do the same for you. Regards, Tarran. See how easy it is? Being proactive. Yes? I use an iPhone, so I'm not sure if it's there for Android, but you simply search for business card scanners or biz card scanner apps. Okay, so we can work on that afterwards, or you two chat if you need some help to find it. Everybody good? Okay, turn your pieces of paper over. So when I was working with Stephen around what to bring you, that was a little bit different. It was to awaken in you that sense of whether you're a business owner or you're working under someone else's vision and values, that you are in fact a leader. And unlike a performance management plan or a performance review or a staff appraisal, this is your chance to have your you incorporated personal leadership plan. It's a statement about who you are, what you do, and what you need to do in order to lift your game. So some of that is around determining your direction. I was chatting with one person during the break. They have a small business. My question is, what's your end game with that business? Do you actually want to sell that business in 2 or 3 years' time? Do you want to franchise it? Do you want to put a manager in? Do you want to keep working it because you just love selling pineapples on the corner? And if you do, awesome. Awesome. You determine what you want to do, but you need to have that plan and you need to be purposeful about working back from it. So whether you are, again, working for somebody else and you may not own the business, look at this as your career plan. For 2014, you incorporated, not your performance management plan, but your personal plan. What do you need to do to be the best theme park? I use that analogy. On the Gold Coast, we have like 3 or 4 theme parks. They're all great. You've got 2 days. Which one are you going to go to? It's got to be the one that offers you a good fit for who you are. You have to be prepared to sell yourself and know what you stand for. So on your personal leadership plan, top left-hand corner, end game. I'm going to invite you to reflect for a few moments. Consider it's June 30th, 2015. So 15 months from now. 15 months from now, what is your end game? Do you want to still be in your business? Do you want your business to be turning over a revenue of X, Y, Z? Would you like to leave your current business and sell it for a price of QRS? If you're working for someone else, do you want to achieve a promotion? If you are working for someone else, do you actually foresee that a season of change is coming and you might need to look at a transition plan? So with all of these elements, some thinking music, if you wouldn't mind, Stephen, we'll have a few moments to think 3 key points. What is your end game? What do you want to see as at June 30th, 2015? And we could all hum a few bars. Okay, take some time now, jot it down, and perhaps as you do that, in the top left-hand corner above the word end game, can you write your name on your piece of paper? Thank you. For some leaders, you may be facing some transitional changes, so you're not able to determine whether or not the work that you're in will still be there. Your business may be subject to government funding, there may be takeovers, there could be a whole range of elements. So if you're not able to articulate a dollar value of where you see the business or where you see you by June 30th, consider how you want to be feeling by June 30th, 2015. So do you want to feel like you have achieved another layer of study, or that you have achieved a sense of increased clarity and confidence to move forward as opportunities emerge? There's no right or wrong answer. It's simply giving yourself permission to think differently about your unique situation. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll just bring it back into the middle of the room. So, role modelling boldness, Johnny here, if you don't mind, Johnny, has graciously said I can read out his end game. So pardon my back if you can't see me, I'll just get you to turn your chairs. So Johnny, bravely, 3 hands for Johnny before we even read it out. 1, 2, 3. John, thank you. So Johnny has written, directing the business by 2015. Is that right? 50 employees and looking to establish a new branch. Awesome. So that's a big goal. So as he has that in the back of his mind, that then is going to inform as we move from the right-hand side around to the top. This is our focus. Everything we do on the right-hand side around needs to help him achieve that goal. So as you look at your piece of paper, so Aaron has certain points down, David has certain points down, Terry has other points, you all do. Look at your end game, and then let's have a look at what we need to do to help you achieve that end game. Before you start looking at the actions, let me explain what those headings are. Are you okay about that? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. You're fabulous. Okay. So, what I'd like to do, when we talk about personal leadership, in particular, I want to draw your attention to getting clear on what your values are. For those VIPs who completed the innovation checklist, we covered off on 7 areas that we speak about, and they're the elements that are on your plan. When we talk about values, the ones that commonly spring to mind are honest, trustworthy, reliable, but there needs to be more than that. There needs to be some additional meat that goes with it. We need to describe the behaviours that go with those values. That's about you as the individual. Question, does anyone employ staff? So just a big strong show of hands. Has anyone found staff can be a real pain in the bum? Yeah? Ah, true. But you know, if we're finding that our staff are pains in the butt, whose fault do you think that is? Yeah. So here's the challenge. Often leaders get a bad rap. I want to say, you know, as a leader and as a business owner, you're doing great. You're doing really, really well. But where we fall down is we think that we can't say no to people. We sometimes think we can't tell people to pull their head in because we don't want to breach legislation. We don't want to involve union. So there's a few things that we need to get clear on. So in my one of my many roles I was general manager for a large not-for-profit for Queensland and served on their national executive. Our business model as a whole turned over 55 million. They've just turned over 120. It was fraught with complexity. Union was involved. One of the mistakes that I made was not practice this. I'm just going to abbreviate it. Robust conversations. It is a skill. Unless you're a lawyer or a qualified mediator, sometimes in spite of you having the best idea, the best business idea, you're still not trained. I'm still not trained to handle robust conversations with people that are openly aggressive or just plain problem generators. So the invitation to you is, I have a webinar series that I might make available to you, Steve. It's called PG28. It's how to deal with problem generators in 28 days. So I usually charge $297 for that, but I'll make that available to the VIPs. Okay? So just give me a few days to get that organised next week, and we'll send that through. So that's every 4 days you get a particular video and transcript that comes through on how to have those robust conversations. Now, in sharing that with you, the challenges are we don't know how to performance manage people on the basis of values. So when we're looking at employing people for our business, or if we are looking at being a contractor and partnering with someone, in order for me to partner with Steve and come along as a guest speaker, I needed to make sure, in keeping with my brand, Corporate Cinderella, does the shoe fit? And I have a clear client qualifying statement, and I show that client qualifying statement to my prospective staff and contractors. I knew Steve for 3 years. I didn't need to go, here's Steve. I already knew through his track record, through his brand, that we would be a good fit. In your business, there's an opportunity for you, employee or employer, contractor, to consider, does the shoe fit? You would be well placed, you would find great freedom in actually having a client self-qualifying sheet, A4, that says, these are the behavioural expectations in our workplace. When you do that, it alleviates the risk of non-compliance against legislation. So, for example, we cannot discriminate against race, creed, religion, colour, gender. But we can say, in our workplace, we demonstrate a great team spirit by refraining from gossip. Just one element. We ensure that we celebrate each other's achievements, like Tora Bright, that sort of thing. And we don't beat each other over the head if we stuff things up because we feel badly enough. So you can actually put those things into your document. And the beauty is if you put those into a position description, it gives you the capacity to performance manage your staff against the behavioural expectations, not the technical aspects of the job. So your technical and your tactical stuff will still be there, but behavioural, this is about empowering you as business owners. So look at ways that you can include value statements within your client attraction, your staff attraction sheets. What do you do? And ask behavioural questions during the interview phase. Or part of your brand, one of the flow-on effects of branding through social media usage is it's a great way to enchant prospective candidates for your business. And not just prospective customers, but who's online. Look at their conduct. How do they engage with people? Working in the not-for-profit sector for a period of time, there was one gentleman that applied to work in a personal care capacity with men and women with a mild intellectual disability but challenging behaviour. It wasn't commonplace for employers to Google back in 2008, but still we did it. And we didn't have a grounds for refusing to interview this person on the basis of his skill, but the Google search results certainly led us to ask this question with the following statement. We noticed during our research and shortlisting of all candidates that your public Facebook profile suggested you liked women with big breasts. Our concern is, in providing personal care, to young women with an intellectual disability. Can you show us the connection between how you would value that young female in our care, given your public persona has made a statement like that? He didn't get the job from us, but he did go on to get a job with an agency. He was a lovely bloke. He was just unwise. You know, we still have to keep things real, but as an employer, I have a duty of care to those that I service, and I have a duty of care to my other staff. If I'm expecting certain levels of behaviour, then I want us to speak honourably about each other. I don't want that in my workplace, because I'm not going to have a run-in with the union because I've employed someone who openly doesn't place value, you know, albeit it was just an anatomical part, but it was inappropriate if he's working in the sector. Gone are the days of walking into a mechanic's shop and seeing a piece of silk laying across a tyre. You know, it's not how it works. So, values are a really important behavioural aspect. When we talk about personal leadership, it's getting clear on your values. So I want to show you what we call the values tree. You ready for this? And I do have this available as a JPEG, if you would like it. So artistically, fabulous work. So the roots of the tree represent your values. So consider this as if you were an individual, and then layer your organisation. Can I just see who is the business owner in the room? Hands up really high. So we have, say, maybe 10% of the room, thank you very much, 10% of the room that work for others. So when we look at this, you, the business owner, would find that your values typically have been, your organisation values have typically been birthed out of who you are as the business owner. It was your idea. The culture of the workplace is your reflection. As you grow your team, this isn't just yours anymore. You become a mash and a blend of everyone else that comes on, and it probably stands to reason within 3 years you'll start to revisit those values and go, do we need to enhance those or tweak those? If they are rock solid, if they're faith-based or something along those lines, then hold fast to those, but make sure you're explaining that in the values sheet so that when you engage staff, you're engaging people that are like-minded or that fits those aligning values. Not the same, but they support those values. If you are working for another organisation and you find that there is an ethical clash, if you are proposing to work for an organisation, do your research. Check what their values are. Check what's said in social media. Do a hashtag search on Twitter for their presence. Determine what's being said about them in the media. If you're looking to partner with third parties from outside the area where you don't have prior word of mouth or referral knowledge, do your research. Make sure you Google them, check them out on LinkedIn, check company pages, see what the general feeling is about them. If you are working for someone, then this is a good exercise for you to actually go back and have a look at your values and look beyond the standard lines of trustworthy, loyal, honest. That's a minimum I expect from any of my employees. That's a given. If you're handling money, working with vulnerable people, if I'm opening my office and sharing my financials, you need to be all those things. So what else comes up for you? When you look at your values, then these values should inform your vision. They should inform your strategic plan. They should inform your operating plan. They should then, I'm just going to draw the branches like this. So operating plan, your values should run through like sap through a tree. They should inform your people selection. They should inform your daily practice. They should inform your processes. They should inform your pricing. They should inform your product. Anything that you do, value should infuse through every aspect. What you stand for, your ethics. It should be a reflection of how you see yourself and how you see your market, that you bring something marvellous as a point of difference. So as you're looking at that piece of paper, over the next 2 days, you're going to be hearing tomorrow as well, you're going to hear a range of content from other great speakers. What I invite you to do is keep that as a worksheet so that as you hear more information tomorrow about wealth and numbers and finance and video and online marketing, the guys might have their own handouts as well, but what I want to invite you to do is look at what's in your toolbox. What are the resources? Some of the things you've heard from me today, such as Card Munch, you can put down on right now resources. Card Munch, it's going to increase your productivity and effectiveness. Canva as a toolbox. I'm going to shout out a few things now because I want to honour you with your time on a Friday afternoon. Are you ready to scribe? And then at the end of this process over the weekend, I'll invite you to circle your top 3 priorities that will help you get to your end game by June next year. You comfortable with that? Yes? You ready? Okay, toolbox. Here's some of the brilliant stuff that I use. I use teamworkpm.net, an online project management tool. Did you? teamworkpm.net. There's a link on my Corporate Cinderella website, and the URL for my website's on the bottom of your red handouts. Other things that we use, Hootsuite. People heard of Hootsuite? So Hootsuite is a great tool. It also tracks over and links to the online task on the bottom left-hand side. That's a great way of scheduling your social media posts. I actually have a virtual assistant in the Philippines that goes through and curates the information that I have already pre-approved that comes in through subscription to my Gmail account. So my other tools are my Gmail alerts or Google alerts. For anything that I speak on, consult on or coach on, I already have alerts set up, including for my brand name and my personal name. They come into my Gmail account into a folder that's already set up on the left-hand side. It's called Google Alerts. My VA in the Philippines makes sure that all of those are labelled and tucked in there nicely. She then goes through and selects the relevant information and lines them up with each of the 7 themes you see on your worksheet there, and we post on one theme every day of the week. How cool is that? I know, right? You're so overwhelmed. This is where you go, amazing, Tarran. Come on. Hang on. Thank you so much. We were practicing down the back. No, no, really, no. So this is your chance. Like, no. I know, right? I know. Look, I'm just like you. I'm an entrepreneur, small business owner who's passionate about the stuff that I do, but I had to get commercially savvy. And we want you to be commercially savvy. So if we can help you with different tools, then we will. We'll share bits of information. So there's a whole lot more around strategic planning and operational planning. The culture was a big result that came up in the innovation survey that some of the VIPs filled out. So if you're staying for dinner tonight, come pick my brain about some of the workplace culture stuff. Certainly the values underpins all the bits and pieces that I do. I'm here tomorrow along with the guys at the back. Steve has graciously allowed us to eat 15 minutes into our break time earlier this afternoon. So I'm going to have to draw it to a close. Have I left you wanting more? I know. So I'm not rushing off. So what I'd like to conclude with is that your brand is the sum of who you are. It is in fact your story, but your story is chapter after chapter, line upon line. Your story, your brand is in fact the dash from the beginning to your end. Your story is your legacy. Your brand is more than the sum of what you do or the money that you make. So as you get on your bike, whatever that bike might be, I'd like to caution you to ride your own bike. Don't get caught up in the trap of comparison that will perhaps see you thinking, oh, I need to accelerate here, or I need to corner more like this person, or I need to go slower, or what's going on, I'm fearful. Every now and then you need to stop, revive, survive. You'll hear a lot of information over these 2 days. Make sure you spend some time aside on Sunday and in the weeks ahead where you give yourself the grace to process it. Have a rest stop. any of you are more than welcome to give me a call anytime. That's complimentary, VIP or standard guest. What we do at Corporate Cinderella is help people come together corporately or in unity to achieve Cinderella results. It's a story of triumph. It's a story of going from good to great. It's not about bluebirds around the head. It's actually about overcoming. It's using what you have in your hand to make a difference. So the baton is now in your hands. You have received information. It is now your responsibility to do something with it. Congratulations. Thanks, Stephen.
Okay, big round of applause for Tarran.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
No, you're more.
You're amazing.
You're more.
You're amazing.
Stop.
Stop it. Yeah, that's it.
Stephen, stop. I can feel a love fest.
You know, when I guess it goes back to when Tarran and I first met, nearly that or 3 years ago, and then we had this conversation, whenever it was, about coming down here, and we talked about values, and Tarran's got a servant's heart, which I think I do as well. You know, it's all about helping other people and serving people and watching others succeed and you know, being there along the journey, and that's why Tarran and I, you know, get on so well and we're such a good fit. So hopefully you got such a lot of information out of that. But, you know, I adore you, Tarran. I know everybody else that's ever worked with you adores you, and I'm pretty sure this room adores you as well, so thank you.